In 2006, police officers were stopped by a man wandering the streets of Kyiv asking for Pishnaya Street. He's confused and was asking strange questions. Dressed in clothes from the 1950s, holding an old camera, he said his name was Sergei Ponomarenko, and he believed the year was 1958. Investigators are intrigued by Sergei's story and the evidence he carried with him. On him was a Yashima Flex camera, a Soviet-era model from the late 1950s, loaded with undeveloped pictures that he took before he was transported in the present day. Tucked inside his jacket was an internal passport issued decades ago, its ink and paper still crisp, as if untouched by time. Every item appeared completely authentic, yet showed no signs of aging, as if Sergei had walked out of the past and into our present. Sergei was sent for psychiatric evaluation. Dr. Pavel Krudikov documented the case, finding Sergei's speech, knowledge, and mannerisms entirely consistent with someone from 1958. On his first session, he was clearly in shock. Sergei told the doctor what happened to him. He told the story of him and his girlfriend walking around the city and saw a bell-shaped flying object in the sky and took a picture of it. Then he found himself in 2006. Dr. Krudikov said that traumatic situations usually creates false memories as a defense mechanism. But Sergei insisted that it was really what happened and suggested that they develop the photos in his camera as proof. The camera, an authentic 1950s model in good condition with an undeveloped film inside, showed exactly what Sergei claimed. A photo of an unidentified flying object, mid-air, unedited. Old photographic films, especially those made on acetate bases from the mid-20th century, often develop what is called the vinegar syndrome. Over time, the chemical composition of the film begins to break down, releasing acetic acid. This deterioration causes the film to warp, shrink, and become brittle, eventually making it unusable and causing permanent image loss. But the images from Ponomarenko's camera developed pretty easily because of its pristine condition. As more sessions occur, the mystery of Sergei Ponomarenko was deepened as strange things happened to him in his time in the clinic. In one instance, the doctor noticed that Sergei was looking at the clock. He noticed that time is not moving, but they have been talking for at least 30 minutes. After Sergei left the room, the clock moved again. On the third day in the clinic, the hospital staff went to Sergei's room to check on him, but he was gone. Keep in mind that the whole hospital has CCTV cameras on all exits, and Sergei's room has bars in the window. All that's left in the room was the newspaper and the doctor's notes. Dr. Krudikov contacted the police to locate Sergei. The officers checked out the address on his intake form at the clinic, and of course nothing was there. But they've learned that the residence from that address was moved to a building nearby which was built in the 1960s and was still standing, and Ponomarenko was confirmed to have lived there. By digging through the building's records, the officers learned that Sergei did live there for 20 years. The officers hit another dead end because Ponomarenko was reported to be missing by 2006. There's two things the officers found out in their investigation on Sergei's mysterious vanishing in the clinic. One is that Sergei did a radio show interview in 1958 where predicted some accurate technological advancements in the future. He said that artificial hearts will be used in the future and phones will no longer need wires. The second thing is that officers found out that the girl in the picture is still alive and lives in the building. Her name is Valentina, and she told the officers that Sergei actually returned after a few days of his vanishing in 1958, but went missing again in 1978. He was presumed dead, and his apartment was sold. But Valentina did have a picture of him. The pictures were the same as what Dr. Krudikov have in the clinic, the day Sergei time traveled to 2006. Valentina asked what this is about. The officers said that they were looking for a possibly mentally ill patient named Sergei. Valentina just stared at the officers for a long moment. Then she took out an envelope. She said that she came home a few years earlier and got an envelope in her mailbox. Inside is a picture of Sergei that looked like he has not aged a day since 1978. But the background of the picture is strange. It's visibly a picture of Kyiv with the motherland statue on Sergei's back, but there are buildings that were not supposed to be there. On the back of the photograph was a message for Valentina, saying that everything is fine and will be back soon. It seems that he has traveled to the future once again. But how far? Maybe we'll know someday in the future. There's one theory about Sergei Ponomarenko that rarely gets discussed, and it's far stranger than simple time travel. The theory is that Sergei wasn't just a man lost between decades. They say he was taken. According to this idea, when Sergei vanished from his locked psychiatric room, he wasn't slipping back into 1958. He was abducted by something far beyond human understanding. In this theory, his sudden appearance in 2006, with no knowledge of modern life, points to alien intervention. Perhaps extraterrestrials had been studying him since 1958, pulling him out of his time, experimenting on him, and then accidentally releasing him in the wrong year. His confusion, outdated clothes, and camera full of old film support the idea that he hadn't been living in the normal flow of time. And when he vanished from the clinic, they suggest it was no escape at all. He was retrieved, taken again by the same beings who displaced him in the first place. His reappearance was an error, and his disappearance was a correction. Another idea is that Ponomarenko was taken by secret services. If he had accidentally crossed timelines, agencies may have wanted to study him, interrogate him, or keep his existence hidden. His disappearance from the clinic could have been a covert extraction, especially since no official record or follow-up interview has surfaced. This one is most likely to be true if time travel is already happening. A more grounded theory is that Sergei suffered from severe psychosis or dissociation. He could have been a homeless man or someone with amnesia, adopting an identity from the past. After being admitted, he might have escaped the psychiatric facility unnoticed, blending back into society under a different name. Lastly, and most likely that story was designed purely to attract attention, boost television ratings, and spark urban legends online. This theory is supported by the lack of corroborating evidence and the cinematic nature of the footage of the TV show Aliens the story originated from. If you like more animated mystery stories like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time.